Hey friends, so today I'm going to talk about something that will provide more control over your outcome when you are in an interview situation, and it will allow you to get the credit and recognition that you deserve for the things that you've done in your career. So first things first, have you heard of the S.T.A.R method? The S.T.A.R method is basically an acronym, and it stands for situation, task, action, result. I know that everyone's not heard of it because I've been in a number of situations in which I've interviewed individuals, and either they haven't heard of it or they've heard of it and didn't use their examples in a manner that helped me as the interviewer understand where they were coming from, some of the things that they have done, the success that they had realized in their previous roles. So it's really important that you grasp the concept, and I'm going to help you out now. So again, S.T.A.R method, situation, task, action, result. I'm going to walk you through it. So the S in that acronym is for situation. If you're asked a question by an interviewer, relate that question to something that you've done in the past. So maybe you have been asked a question regarding leadership and you've not been a formal leader. This might be your very first leadership role. So your first time that you're actually going to have people reporting into you. So you're a manager, you're interviewing for a manager role or a supervisor role. You're going to have to take examples of when you've operated as a leader. So you'll go back to some situation. Maybe it's a situation from college and you led a team on a project. Perhaps you have worked in a restaurant industry and you've not been a supervisor or manager, but you've been a team leader. Maybe you've been a team leader in an operations or manufacturing type of role. So you're going to have to take those examples of being a team leader or even an informal leader, someone who provided influence to others, and relate that to the question that you've been asked. So situation, think about a situation that is similar or that you could apply to what you were being asked. The next is the task. So I mentioned it just a second ago, perhaps you led a project, and that project may have been in college, it may have been in high school, it may have been in whatever other position you've worked in the real world. So you take that example and think about what was the task at hand. So if it was a project, the situation was, I was in college. We were asked to put together a plan regarding how we would ensure that everyone contributed to our thesis paper, right? So that's the situation. Your task would be you put together a project plan around it. So it had the timing of when everyone had to have their information in. It had examples of, when you were going to do your research. If it meant that you were getting together as a team on a call or a conference call, it had all of those deliverables in there. So that was the task at hand. So you're trying to describe a project or a project plan. It's not always going to be a project. This is just an example. And then what were the actions that were taken? So you had your situation. Your task was to put together a project plan so that you could make sure you could accomplish what was being asked of you. And in this case, it's the thesis paper by the end of the semester that everyone is contributing to. What actions were taken? So those are those individual steps that were included. It may mean actions regarding I'm doing follow-up with X, Y, and Z individuals because they didn't respond or provide their information on time. So all of those things you want to include. So it's not enough just to say, here are the action steps, but those actions include if we didn't meet these deliverables, or if someone else didn't meet their deliverables, as a leader, what did you do? Did you just let it go? Did you say, oh, I'll just do it myself? And then you have to ask yourself, is that the true action of a leader? Or do you use your communication skills and have a conversation with the person to say, hey, we expected that, everyone would have their information submitted by July 14th, let's say. And I didn't see your information. It may mean that they sent it and it got hung up in their email. Who knows, right? But it's doing that follow-up and making sure that, you're staying on task. You're taking the action. You're taking the A, as some say. You're taking the action and having that conversation and pushing that project along to completion so that it's on time. And then what's the end result? What was the result? The person who's interviewing you wants to understand what was the result of whatever you did or whatever example you're providing. And in this case, for the project, what was the result? Even though I had to go back and have a conversation with 3 of the contributors, they were able to get things in on time. 1 had already sent it, but it was hung up in email, so they pushed it forward. 2 individuals just needed a little more time. They missed it by a day, but we were on track the rest of the time. One of the things that I did was I made sure that I followed up with those other 2 individuals who were lagging behind to make sure that they had the support that they needed, to see if they had any questions, and we didn't have any issues the rest of the time as we completed our project, right? And so our result was we got our paper done on time. It was actually early. We met all of our deliverables in the end, and we ended up getting an A on our thesis paper. So just a quick example of utilizing the STAR method when asked a question during an interview. So that's a skill that you definitely want to grasp onto. If you're not familiar with it, and even if you are, it's definitely a way that you can prepare for your interviews. You know all of the things that you've done in the past. You know those things that you've been, really successful at. Think about how you can apply those in an interview situation. And at some point, I'll share some other tips and tricks to make sure that you're preparing specifically for the interview at the company that that's most desirable for you. So hope this was helpful,